Reach to the child within us all. For change must first come from within. The cycle of abuse must be broken, so healing for all our children can begin.
Foster children in society often are judged very critically. Being the kid that's going to steal from you, being the kid that shoplifted in the store, oh, it's that foster kid, we can't invite him to our birthday party.
Speaking from being a foster kid and professionally supporting the families, they look at them as they're not going to make it. I remember growing up and having a report card that was really good, and they would tell me, well, you couldn't do that. You must have cheated.
Well, I think what you see in the news about foster kids is that they're very damaged, they're dangerous.
911, what are you reporting?
I was assaulted earlier.
Their behaviors are out of control. When in fact all of that is really survival strategies.
So many of these children, when they enter the system, they have issues about thinking to themselves, does anyone want me?
There's more and more kids coming into care because of the opiate crisis.
As Alberta grapples with an opioid overdose crisis that has killed thousands.
Many of those kids, that's their parents.
That's something that's a bit unusual. Kids coming in who in fact don't have parents.
There she is, our own little orphan Annie.
Foster kid.
There are absolutely expectations that foster parents should fix a child.
And that probably stems from the media.
I don't need parents to play make-believe with.
When they've oversimplified any topic, I think you risk this one situation. Only if you got adopted could it be successful. Only if the people were wealthy could it be successful.
I'm a rich guy. I saved an orphan.
It gives people the sense that there's only one journey.
Kids come with big behaviors and big emotions that they don't understand, and then you'll have a psychiatrist say, well, your child was sexually abused. How do you navigate that?
Why any kid would want to be an orphan is beyond me.
Unfortunately, in our society, we are grief illiterate because we're not just ripping people away, children away from families, we're ripping them away from their culture. That can be a death in itself.
When they're entering the system, there's always an underlying sense of trauma. They have trauma of neglect.
They don't know how to love or be loved.
Or to trust anyone else.
A lot of them feel hopeless.
Earlier this month, DJ Baptiste killed himself near his Calgary foster home.
Their solution is suicide. I think my greatest concern, if we don't get a hold of helping these kids with trauma, is they're not going to make it to be an adult, let alone be a functioning member of society.
My name is David Langeudoc. My birth name was Alfred Patanaquat. My spirit name is Thunderboys. I'm from the Saugeen First Nation, Southampton, Ontario. At the age of 3, I was living on reserve, and I watched my mom get killed by an impaired driver. Social service office came in. They had heard about the accident, and they took my brothers and I into care. At that point in time, we were streamlined into foster care, meaning that we went from entering the system right to PGO, permanent guardians, immediately. We didn't last long in the home. We were both angry, both scared, both frightened. We were acting out, we were hitting, we were just doing really unnatural things for children that age. And the time I was 3 and losing my mom to the time that I was 4, I was in 18 different hot foster homes. My experience in foster care was a nightmare. Most of the parents were abusive. I didn't know where I was half the time. I didn't know who I was with. I didn't know where I was going to sleep most of the time. I wasn't eating well. I wasn't sleeping well. I was crying 24/7. At the end of the 18th placement, we were deemed unplaceable at that time. The only place where they could place us is in an orphanage in southern Ontario. This was the last of the last steps for children in care in Ontario in 1959-60. There's no other place to go.
I'm Carol Ann Hapshin. I'm an infant and early childhood psychiatrist in Edmonton, Alberta. I think the most common myths about kids in foster care is that they maybe just have a simple issue. They've experienced some trauma, either neglect, abuse, sexual abuse, and that it's easily fixable. And if they're removed from the traumatic experience, then they'll just recover. People expect that they'll immediately get calm and feel safe in a protective environment. And the reality is that when kids are coming into care, they don't know what safety is. It is not true that children will forget their trauma after a few months. Traumatic memories are wired into the brain. The sensations that a child may have experienced from inside their body and from the outside world when they've experienced trauma are there in their memory system, and they can be there for life. There is an understanding of our stress response system as being about fight, flight, or freeze. And it's actually a bit more complex than that. So in our automatic nervous system, we have a gas pedal, essentially, and a brake pedal. And when we experience different kinds of stress, the gas will go on or the brake will go on. There may be also varying combinations of intensity with brakes and gas on together. So when the gas pedal goes on, we may be in a positively valent state or a negative state. So when we're in a negative state, that's where we're in a high energy state and we're irritable, angry, frustrated. If we're in a high energy positive state, we are giddy, hyperactive, and more intense brake. We withdraw, disengage, get quiet, get small. Young children may hide. Children may actually shut down and dissociate. And in that combination of gas and brakes in intense amounts, we feel that jittery, nervous feeling in our body, and we feel fear. If there's more gas pedal, we feel panic. And if there's more brake in that combination state, we may be the deer in the headlights, where our heart is racing, our blood pressure's up, the gas pedal is on, but we're immobilized. And so when children suffer abuse and neglect and trauma, they have challenges processing sensory information, they have challenges regulating the inside of their body, they have trouble regulating their emotions, and so then of course that puts them at higher risk when they experience trauma to have learning challenges as they develop.
I spent about 4 to 6 months in this orphanage with my brother. And the experience I had in that orphanage was just added on to the hellish experience I already had in the homes. There's a lot of abuse going on, a lot of physical abuse, sexual abuse. My whole life was, up till that time, was dominated by fear. I was scared stiff of everything, and I was hurting inside. My stomach hurt all the time. I was wetting myself all the time. It was during the time in the orphanage, that I thought I had thoughts of dying. I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust any other kids. At times, I didn't even trust my own brother. I had all these thoughts of things, fantasies, if you will, of how I would hurt people. And how I'd protect myself, because nobody was protecting me. Frightening to think that a 4-year-old child could have a thought of dying.
When children are moved from home to home, they can't form a secure attachment to a caregiver because they keep losing people. They are trying hard to establish an attachment and have a trusting relationship, but the adults fail them. Adults collectively, the caseworkers and the whole bureaucracy of the foster care system, and sometimes foster parents who are misunderstanding the child's behavior.
I was 4 years old in this environment, in the orphanage. My brother and I, at one point, were hauled out of the basement area and brought up to the front foyer of the orphanage. There was a man and a lady standing there. They had showed up for an appointment to adopt one native child. And I found out that on top of that podium was a binder. And in that binder was 65 pages of 65 children that were in the orphanage. The woman said that the managers are flipping through this thing like it was a catalog, going, "Oh yeah, they're too old. You said you want young. They're young, but no, you don't. Oh, you don't want these two. They're incorrigible." And slip. That mom heard that, and this is the important part of my whole journey. It boiled down to that minute, and the mom said, "Hold on a sec. Wait a second here. Wait, hold it. What did you say?" So these aren't too incorrigible. There's no hope for them. There's no hope at all for these two. And that mom said, "Incorrigible." So I don't believe any child is incorrigible. Bring them both up here right now. I want to meet them both. Had she said anything differently, this is what it boils down to, is had she said anything differently to describe us, she wouldn't have gotten that reaction. Manager hauls us up here, and we're now being held at arm's length. And we're kicking, we're spitting, we're biting. We're trying to do everything we can to get out of her grip. But Mom, she said that she looked down at us, and she said she could tell that we were dirty, unbathed, unkept. She could see that we had warts and boils and stuff all over our faces and necks. And she could tell that we were underfed because she said our ribs were sticking out. And she could see our ribs, and we were basically malnourished. And I asked her, I had a chance to ask her many years later what happened, and she said, "We fell in love with you." Now, in the course of 2 or 3 minutes, my life is changing completely. They said it would take a miracle to change our lives, for something to happen to us that would change our lives forever, and it happened on that day. About a week later, I remember running down the hallways and diving out the front steps off that orphanage and sliding out, and I remember seeing what is called a station wagon parked out in front. Ford Falcon station wagon, teal green with paneling on the side of it. I'd never seen such a big station wagon. I'd never seen such a big car before. And I looked out the back window, and I watched in the rearview mirrors. It got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it disappeared. And I was so excited. I was shaking. I was so excited. I remember feeling myself, and I was saying, "Oh, we don't have to go back. We don't have to go back. All right, we don't have to go back. We can." And then it hit me. I didn't know where I was going, and right again I froze. That lady sat on the passenger side, and the fella was driving. And I remember she turned around. She had beautiful blonde hair. I've never seen such beautiful blonde hair. It was amazing. She was so pretty. And I remember when she turned around, the whole interior of the station wagon lit up. There was a big light shone in there. I couldn't understand what it was. Automatically, my head went to Angel. She's an angel. And I don't know where I got Angel from, but she must be an angel. And she looked over, and she saw me just like I couldn't control my feelings. They were just shaking inside me. And she goes, "Oh, no, it's okay." She went over to touch my leg, and I pulled away from her. She goes, "No, it's okay, it's okay." I said, "I'm Judy. I'm going to be your mom. And this is your dad, Michael." She said 6 words to me. "Everything is going to be all right." I remember I cocked my head and I looked at her and I said, no one's ever said that to me before. Everything's going to be all right. Wow. I believed her.
Ultimately, what these kids are deeply searching for is to be loved. They're looking for adults who are going to meet their needs, their physical needs, their emotional needs, their social needs.
I think it's really critical to understand root cause, because often what we'll do is try to layer on some support or therapy for the behavior, but really what the behavior is an indication of a need, and it's an indication of something that child is trying to get out but they can't say, and they don't know how to process it.
When Mom told me those words, a new feeling ignited in me of love, and I wasn't sure at first how to take it. I wasn't sure if she meant it. I wasn't sure really what it meant to be loved. So the word love was kind of scary.
Foster parents hope that when they are providing nurturing, joyful interactions with kids and providing them with positive experiences, that things will change for the child quickly. For some children, that may be so, but for other children, it takes a long time. And so I think sometimes foster families hope that when they're having fun and joyful interactions with kids, the bad behaviors will go away. Unfortunately, the child's stress response system is still on high alert, and the child is going to be triggered in many different ways by sensations, by experiences that remind them of the trauma. And so their brains are constantly on alert and predicting that there's going to be chaos happening.
Children today are full of fear by all they see and what they hear. They learn that life is one big secret, not knowing who to trust or who will care.
By the time that I was 8, the worst thing that could have happened took place in the Langeudoc home. The memories of that experience haunt me to this day. I woke up November 29th, 1963. I could hear my sisters, Michelle and Claudette, bawling their eyes out, crying, screaming almost. And my mom too, and I heard, what is going on here? We didn't wake up like that in this home, you know? And I got really scared inside. I felt really scared again, and I tightened up, and but I had to see what was going on, because these were my family. And so I walked down the hallway and looked in my mom's room, and I saw my mom laying on the bed, on the headboard like this, with Claudette and Michelle, my sisters, holding them. They were all sobbing uncontrollably. And Mom composed herself, and she said, David, she used to call me David. Your dad was in Montreal, coming home from Montreal last night, and the plane went down. And he died in a plane crash, and he won't be coming home.
It's an almost indescribable scene. It's a very unusual scene for a plane crash in that there is the plane came down. In other words, the plane apparently...
The aircraft was disintegrated. Everybody around here was magnificent in their help.
As I'm starting to hear this stuff, I remember I could feel my muscles tighten. I could feel my heart beating. I could feel the ringing in my ears again, and I could feel just this need to explode, but I can't. I shut down. I said, don't cry, don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry. Don't be angry. Don't be sad. I said, don't do those things. I said, and don't trust another human being as long as you live, especially adults.
Attachment theory has been around for a long time, many, many decades of research and clinicians understanding the importance of attachment. And attachment is the process by which a young infant develops a bond to their caregivers. And the essence of it is the child learns that they can trust a caregiver. Attachment theory is complex. There are two main functions of a caregiver. One, to be a secure base, so the child can go off and explore the world and learn. And then the second function is to be a safe haven for the child to return to when they need comfort and protection. For children coming into foster care, they may not have experienced reliable, predictable interactions with loving caregivers. And so when there's no trust, we're left alone with those big feelings. Clinicians who created the circle of security call that the black hole. We all have a black hole. It's just a matter of how big it is. And for kids in care who have no trust in adults, they have a big black hole. And that black hole is this feeling of abandonment and despair, this horrible despair that no one can help them with.
I made a vow, and it was an internal vow. I didn't say these words to anybody. Nobody knew about my words until I was ready to share them as an adult. I was on a mission now to hurt anybody and everybody before they could hurt me again. And it was just the worst time in my life from about age to 8 to 11. I was destructive. I was breaking people's windows. I was stealing stuff from people. Even in the height of that, I found a couple of things that really, really helped. And that was smoking cigarettes, sniffing glue, and getting involved in drugs and alcohol. And I did that at age 11. It fed into my anger. It fed into my revenge. It fed into my hatred towards the world and people and authority and everything. And I wouldn't be challenged. And if they did, watch out. And I carried on like that till I was 28 years old almost.
Adults perceive that children have bad behavior, but where the child is coming from is that they're experiencing extreme stress in their body, and they're expressing that stress response most of the time involuntarily, and their body is reacting to whatever the stress trigger is. What we've learned from neuroscience is that there is this phenomenon called neuroplasticity. When we receive love, our brains light up. And it's those moment-by-moment joyful interactions with another person that helps build the brain. And what this means is that there is always hope for healing for the brain. For foster kids, when they come into care, they may not have experienced joyful interactions with other people consistently. And so I think it takes time for them to recognize that there can be fun and joy with other people. And what we're hoping to do is lay down positive memories of interactions with others. And as we lay down more and more positive memories, then that helps heal some of the traumatic, painful experiences that the children may have had.
There's so many broken spirits. The joy they felt has turned to pain. Their dreams are shattered, their tears unwept, by promises that were made but never kept. Children today are full of fear. By all they see and what they hear. that life is one big secret. Not knowing who to trust or who will care. Reach to the child within us all. For change must first come from within. The cycle of abuse must be broken, so healing for all our children can begin.
It's time to reach into their sadness. It's time to end their misery. Let's give hope to all our children, that maybe someday they'll be free.
Thank you for the sage, Creator. Thank you so much. Thank you for the medicine. Dominic, do it. Dominic, do it. Good job, buddy. Good job. Put it out. Thank you, Creator. Thank you.
When you're working with these kids that have traumatic experiences, you have to play the long game. You need to be patient, and you need to plan, and you need to wait. You plant a seed, and you wait.
I remember an elder saying, we're all walking this path with our own bundle of insecurities, our teachings, our pain, and we bring that to other people, and other people walking the path bring their teachings to us, and that's where we heal. It's in those moments of connection.
The other thing that happened that even surprised me, I realized that the kids on the street in Rosedale, which is a residential area of Toronto, would come to me. And I'd hang out with them, and I'd make them laugh and stuff, and we'd just joke around. And then we got into some sports, so I'd get some hockey sticks together. I had a neighbor make a goalie net and put everything, and we would play hockey till Saturday morning when it was bright enough to play, till Saturday evening when you couldn't see the ball anymore. I gave to those kids every moment I could. But these kids did something for me. They started a process for me of unconditional love again. Mom launched it back at age 4, and Mom and her reinforced it. But these kids brought it back out in me, that unconditionally I could treat these kids really well, and they would treat me really well, and we'd love each other.
I think unconditional love means that you accept another person and that you really truly understand them, and you understand them from the point of view of what their challenges are as well as their strengths. I put it in perspective of a model that I use, and this model is called heart, hand, and head. And so when we are loving with our hearts, we are engaging another person and trying to understand their feelings, showing empathy, and building trust. When we are loving a person in hand mode, we are actively doing things with them, and we may be guiding and directing and helping them. And then when we're in head mode, we are loving another person by engaging them in discussion and reflection and sorting out the pros and cons of situations and helping them figure things out.
I think we often question ourselves, that is love enough in difficult situations or with children or kids or youth who have difficult behaviors. And I'm going to tell you right now, love is everything. Love frames everything, because you're either operating in a sense of love or you're operating out of fear.
Unconditional love has been a part of my life in so many different ways. With the children on our street, with my mom, she has always had an open door policy with me. I couldn't continue that journey until I dealt with my own addiction. And in order to do that, I had to reach a place where I hit rock bottom, which came later in my life. I went into treatment at a psychiatric hospital where they had psychodramas.
Psychodrama is a group psychotherapy method.
You put things into action and you work toward spontaneous responses with clients.
The psychodrama in itself is a reenactment
This is not your real mother.
of a particular event in your life that caused a certain reaction in your life. Usually it's a negative reaction.
Let me, Daddy, please. Let me, Daddy, please.
It was my choice what to do with it, and I did it on learning of my adopted dad's death, Michael. And it's like reliving the whole thing like it actually happened again. I walked down the hallway, looked in the bed, and I saw them there. I go, what is happening? And I watched them. I stood at the foot of the bed, and my mom told me Dad had died. And I tell you, it scared the daylights out of me. It was at that point in time I was in the psychodrama. I was on my hands and knees on the floor. I remember laying there on the floor going, geez, I don't have to do this, I can go. And I said these words to myself, they can't make you do this. And all of a sudden I hear Dr. Frank, his voice. I knew it was him. And he said to me, David, it's okay to be angry. And it took a split second to realize nobody had ever said that to me before. Who was I waiting to hear for that from? My dad. And I got screamed and I yelled and I started punching all these pillows and yelling and screaming. It seemed like an hour, but it was about 20 minutes or so. I don't know. I didn't time it. And then I'm left just on the fetal position on the floor, bawling my eyes out. And I remember feeling hands. The therapist instructed all my friends to get around me and put a hand on me, right? And I was literally had 40, 50 different hands, maybe 100, I don't know, all over my leg, my body, my back, my stomach, my head. And I was laying there just screaming with pain. And eventually I calmed down. I could feel myself calming down. And I said, thank you, Dad. And I miss you, and I love you. And I'm never going back to that mean guy I am. All I have now is me, right? The way I'm supposed to be. The way Creator God intended me to be. And I'm going to go continue life and build on my unconditional love for myself and for others. And I swore that someday, or one day, that I might help somebody else.
Nobody's qualified to deal with trauma, not social workers, not doctors, not foster parents. We learn that, and we experience it in our own lives, and we find tools.
It's not a simplistic kind of love that helps foster kids heal. The love that foster kids need is a love that embraces complexity.
Because really unconditional love is the stuff that happens in the difficult time. Because it's easy to love, it's easy to support when things are going great. It's really hard to do it when things aren't.
I think society feels that you need to fix foster kids in a certain way or emotions in a certain way. When you don't need to fix it, you need to be there with them and just allow that emotion to come out, whether it's just listening or letting them cry or letting them be angry.
They deserve to have that experience because it's theirs. Good, bad, or ugly. It happened, that space has to be created for them to learn to live with it or it's never going to be healed.
Kids in care need holistic interventions. So they may need medication. Many children need therapy with a competent professional who truly understands the complexity of the child's development. And it needs to be a therapy that includes the foster family.
So one of the things that society needs to understand and reflect and hopefully change is that children with trauma don't need jail, they don't need timeout, they don't need their Xboxes taken away. They need to experience unconditional love and grace. And the unconditional love comes as the consequence. You're going to walk through the natural consequences of their choice, their experience, their action, right alongside them, unconditionally, without judgment, without consequence, without belittling. That's the grace they need. They need forgiveness to make mistakes and be allotted the time to recover.
You know, in Annie, there's this famous line, "The sun will come out tomorrow."
The sun will come out tomorrow.
And I think it's a great soundbite. I mean, I think we all want hope, and we all need hope. And I think when children come into foster care, one of the things that foster parents and kinship parents can give them, they can start planting this idea that things will be better, things can get better. It doesn't ever happen overnight. It's not a tomorrow, but there are tomorrows.
So we need foster parents because unfortunately, there are families that really struggle with their capacity to provide care for their children.
When a foster parent has hope or belief in a child, it really changes the way the child thinks. People didn't believe in them. When a foster parent comes in and says, "No, you are good enough. You can do this. It may take time, but you can do this," the child starts believing that they actually can do it.
Foster parents offer something way beyond any professional service.
Love, stability, one-on-one time with the child. Institutions can't do that. Group homes can't do that.
Foster parents are actively involved daily with the kids. They know them. They live with them. They're with them. They lean to you to have the insight as to what's next. You're their first go-to. You're the one that's there for the skinned knees. You're the one that's there for the piano recital. You're the one getting the phone calls from the bus driver, the school. You're the one that globally wraps around them and knows it all. This is the power that foster parenting has in today's society. Where it gets really unique is the bond that happens because of that.
You ask any person who's been through the system, what was your most pleasant experience and why, right? And every one of them will say, "Holy moly, I remember it was my grandfather. You know, and my grandfather used to, when I was younger, I remember I used to sit down with him and I could never understand what he was saying because he spoke Cree, right? But I was there and I'd sit with him, but I got this really neat feeling that I was important. I just felt like the whole weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders just for that fleeting moment. And you could tell, he'll tell you the exact time or place. And every one of us do that. We have a person or a place or a parent that we reference when we think of those times. My mom gave us that. You know that? She knew we were into drugs and alcohol. She knew we were into gangs. Did she ever kick us out? No. So on the worst of nights, I always knew this. I knew I had a home to go to. I had a bed or a cot or a basement to sleep in. And there was food there that I could access. Even if that's all Mom provided, she would accept me in her home under any condition. How could Mom raise 5 kids on her own, ages 11 down to age 2, with 2 out-of-control boys in that mix? How could she do that? People don't understand the true sense of what unconditional love is. She had a sense of being and belonging that was stronger than anything else, okay? And she passed that on to every single one of her 5 children. We all got it.
I mean, I think there's so much to learn from, the foster parents of today. I really think that we haven't acknowledged both their wisdom of parenting, their wisdom of issues, of how to deal with complex systems, because they navigate not only the child welfare system, but the medical system, the education system. I mean, they honestly are, some days I think, saints. Like, I really do think, how could you get someone who could be so knowledgeable, so compassionate, kind of holding space and grace for their community and for birth families and for these kids and for a system which we know is doing the best it can, but sometimes is not doing great. But it's also to recognize that they are still human and they can often feel overwhelmed because no one was meant to do this alone.
We don't value our foster parents enough. We need to give them more supports from all systems of care, and we need to show them more respect. And we need to give them the concrete resources that they need when they need it. It's the hardest thing to see little kids suffer. It really is. It's been the struggle of my career, one of the most painful things, and experiencing that frustration and trying to change people's minds that this child absolutely has potential and hope. Every child needs people caring for them, and there's hope for every child. We need to think as communities and as a society about how we treat our most vulnerable children. Nelson Mandela once said, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than in the way that it treats its children."
And have cared for approximately 30 children. They are undoubtedly exceptional caregivers for the children in their care. They treat all children with immense love.
For some reason or other, we've all been called to this work. It's either coming from us, our past, our backgrounds, or whatever it is, we're called to care for other kids. The other thing is we don't have to be, have to know everything. We don't have to be perfect. Not everybody has to come into being a foster parent totally free of any problems. It doesn't work that way, right? It just doesn't. That comes from somewhere else. It didn't come in my training. It didn't come from my parents. No, that comes from somewhere else. Someone else has told me that I have to be perfect. No, I can be me, and I can be a good foster parent on that alone.
Oh, got it.
Keep going, keep going.
I just expect myself to love the children that I'm caring for every day. If we could all embrace the approach of unconditional love daily with our children, will maybe help to save one child. I wrote a song which I'll sing to you next time about the song's called "The Way It Used to Be." It talks about a period when we all got along, when everybody was important, even especially children, but really had an important role in homes and families. And we all lived a certain way. We shared with each other, right? If one family didn't have anything, the other families would pitch in, right? Or we'd have enough for all the families on the street, kind of thing, and we'd all live together, right? Share the land and what comes from the land, and really live in that way of where we're supporting unconditionally each other. The concept is phenomenal, but it used to be like that. It used to be like that at one point in time. Because I know I'm not the only family that was raised on unconditional love. I know there's others. And there's other children walking around with those beliefs. You too. You know that?
There used to be a world that's free of pain and isolation, when people shared and showed they cared. That's the way it used to be. The world has changed, people seem strange. There's far too much separation. The anger's real, and the fear we feel has changed the way it used to be. We all should live and learn to give. Let's unite as one. Take my hand and share this land. There's room enough for everyone. Until then, I'll cry again and pray we come together. I can't despair, I'll meet you there, back to the way it used to be. We all should live and learn to give. Let's unite as one. Take my hand and share this land. There's room enough for everyone. But until then, I'll cry again and pray we come together. I can't despair, I'll meet you there, back to the way it used to be. Back to the way it used to be. Back to the way it used to be.